afternoon, Rotarians.
Good afternoon, Jim.
Welcome to the June 11th meeting of the Rotary Club of Des Moines. I'm your president, Tim Lilwitz, for at least a couple more meetings. Thanks to the incomparable Marty Hockenberg for greeting today. Marty, thank you, appreciate it. So we, just like last week, we have a lot to get to today. We have another update from one of our scholarship recipients, and so I will lead us here in the Pledge of Allegiance, the four-way test, and then we will greet our fellow Rotarians. So please stand. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
and the four-way test.
Is the truth, is it fair to all concerned, will it build goodwill and better friendships, and will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Now please greet your fellow Rotarians.
Thanks for what you're doing. No problem. Just, no, not
I'm never leaving this.
They're going to come, I think, on the 25th when I pass the bell. So, I'll stand up next to Hey, how are you? Good to see you. Yeah. Oh, I'm going to reach across. How are you?
You see my friend?
Jordan, good to see you. So Nick's the only one that did that. Get it out tomorrow. Yeah, that's fine. All right, well, that gets us plus. Oh, that would be awesome. Okay, great.
No, go ahead, go ahead. Yes,
I know, I can't, I was thinking about science, like, I got stay. The patient game, so a fan. Okay, we'll get started as usual with welcoming our guests as we do every week. So guests, when I call your name, please just stand and stay standing for a moment, and we'll honor you all together at the end. So first, I actually have a guest here today, former COO of the Field of Dreams and former GM of the Los Angeles Dodgers, and something I'm working on a project with him up in Ankeny. Dan Evans is here. I said hold your applause. Yeah, he's not that impressive.
You were working with him.
Yeah, I was working with him. Right? Eric Klein, Iowa Cubs corporate account executive and a Clive City Council member, and a guest of David Oman is here. Welcome, Eric. Catherine. We've been good all year, Edwards, until
I lost control.
Catherine Locke, the daughter of our own Fred Locke, is here. We're in a good mood today. Henry Harmon, retired attorney and guest of Doug Dorner, is here. And then Maria Santos Gomez, one of our past scholarship recipients, who you'll hear from later, is here as well. So thank you, guys. All right. Where in the world is Club 27? For our guests and those that don't know, the Rotary Club of Des Moines is the 27th Rotary Club founded in the world of over 45,000 Rotary clubs in over 200 countries. So what we like to do is show where our members have been throughout the world. And here we have Marnie Hockenberg, who took a trip with her daughter last week, Marissa, to Sonoma, California. And they are sampling wines in this photo at the Gloria Ferrer. Am I saying that right? Gloria Ferrer Winery. So looks like a lot of fun. And then the next one, our own Jeremiah Terhark was with the Des Moines contingent out in Washington, D.C. last week and had the opportunity to testify to the United States Senate Small Business Committee about workforce topics. So very impressive. Is Jeremiah here today? Very impressive, Jeremiah. Would you have rather been sipping wine with Marnie in Sonoma or testifying before Congress?
It was the hot seat.
Yeah. And then finally, as is tradition, we have our past president, Doug Saltzgaber. This time he was near the, he was in Greenfield near the Freedom Rock. Is that the original one?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Which one's Doug?
Yeah. So thank you, Rotarians, for taking us with you. And if you're going somewhere fun, be sure to send a photo into Kitty, and she will post it. So next, as I mentioned and teased earlier, Maria Santos Gomez, who is a Lincoln High School graduate from 2023. We decided, right? I was on the committee that gave Maria her scholarship, but she's a current Iowa State student. Woo! I had to pause for that. I don't hold it against you. But she's here to share her update on her scholastic journey. So Maria, come on up and tell us what you're doing.
Hello, Hudson said my name is Maria. I just finished my third year at Iowa State. I am majoring in elementary education, but I'm also getting my endorsements in English language arts, reading, and English as a second language. My hopeful outcome with my degree is to become an ESL teacher back in Des Moines. I mean, like I said, I graduated from Lincoln, and I really liked the urban setting and the amount of needs within the different schools. And basically my reasoning for elementary education is to believe in students in order for them to believe in themselves. I just want to make an impact. I mean, no one does it for the money, so I'm just hoping to make as many impacts as I can. Right now, I'm currently interning at an Iowa State Extension and Outreach office in Altoona, where I am integrating Iowa State curriculums into lessons and then going out to different schools in Polk County and working with students. I've really enjoyed it. It's something different because for the last 5 years, I've worked at an early childhood center. I also have a second job working with Iowa Center of Children's Justice. And yeah, so I'll be working there next week actually. The Rotary Club scholarship is actually the only scholarship I have received, so it has impacted my academic goals a lot. It has helped a lot, as I hope you guys know how grateful I am to have received it. I love what you guys stand for. I love the people. You are all so nice. I love meeting and greeting all of you, and hopefully I get to see a lot of you more often. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. We're honored to support you and our other scholarship recipients, and it's clear you're making the most of those opportunities. So thanks for coming in and sharing that, and you're welcome back anytime, and we look forward to seeing what's all in store for you in the future. So, all right, before we get to Randy, we do have Rotary Law and Disorder back this week. For those of you that, thank you. Is that Bob? Thank you. For those of you who don't know, Rotary Law and Disorder is my attempt at a little bit of humor at my chosen profession of an attorney. So I like to highlight funny or absurd lawsuits. This, and I, of course, with Randy here, I had to do something with baseball, right? So Scoured the internet as I usually do. So to set the stage for this one, the quote-unquote baseball rule in litigation is that if a fan gets hit by a foul ball, broken, or a thrown bat, it's long been held that's an inherent risk of the game, right? The team's not liable for that. I'm sure you guys looked at the back of your ticket and it says that, all that kind of good stuff. A lot of legal mumbo jumbo. So we have Dateline 2009. John Coomer is attending a Kansas City Royals game. Anyone want to guess what type of object hits Mr. Coomer?
Beer can.
A foil-wrapped hot dog, thrown by the Royals' lion-themed mascot Slugger. So Coomer, well, it sounds funny, actually suffered a detached retina that required surgery. So it was a legitimate injury. But naturally, Coomer finds an attorney to sue the Royals and Slugger. So initially, pursuant to that baseball rule that I mentioned, the district court ruled that, and this was before trial or and as a matter of law, that the Royals and Slugger are not liable, saying, hey, the baseball rule applies. Coomer should have been paying attention to an object flying into the stands. It goes all the way up to the Missouri Supreme Court that reverses that ruling and says the risk, quote, the risk from a tossed hot dog is no more inherent to baseball than it would be to a rock concert or a monster truck rally. So they basically overturn the baseball rule in this case and send it back down to the district court where, in that case, it means it has to go to trial, right? So a trial occurs, and I wish YouTube was more prevalent in 2009 because apparently, according to the articles I found, attorneys called Slugger, or the gentleman that played Slugger, to testify as an expert witness and demonstrate to the jury his various hot dog throwing techniques. Overhand, behind the back, and the toss that he claimed injured Coomer was the quote grenade throw. I don't know. Like I said, I wish I had a video to share, but I don't. I found myself reading this just smirking and laughing that I can imagine an attorney questioning, please, Mr. Slugger, could you demonstrate to the jury how one takes reasonable care in flinging a hot dog into the stands? It would have been a nice courtroom scene. But at the end of the day, the jury finds that the Royals and Slugger were not liable for accidentally injuring the fan with a grenade toss of a hot dog. But so I guess all's well that ends well, except for Mr. Coomer, who had to pay for his detached retina. Does anyone want to guess my dad joke on this one? Saltzgaber, do you know? Yeah, that's Slugger might have been liable if he had put a little bit more mustard on that hot dog. That was a good one. All right, just a couple more weeks, you'll be rid of me. Don't worry about it. Board member Mark Lyons will now introduce our keynote speaker for today. Mark.
Thank you, President Tim, for 2 more weeks.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm pleased to introduce Randy Wayhofer, who was named the general manager of the Iowa Cubs on October 1st of last year. Before joining the Cubs in 2008 as a broadcaster and account executive, Randy worked 9 years for the Burlington Bees, where he called over 1,200 games and served as the team's assistant general manager of baseball operations. Since joining the Cubs organization, Randy's held several leadership roles, including the Director of Media Relations, a position he assumed in 2011, and in 2017 he was promoted to Vice President and Assistant General Manager, before last fall stepping to the plate to follow Sam Burnaby as the Cubs General Manager. Randy's also been a guest broadcaster for several Kansas City Royals and Chicago's Cubs games, served as the Master of Ceremonies for the opening session and awards lunch for the baseball winter meetings, and appeared as a radio broadcaster in the movie Sugar that was filmed in Davenport and Burlington and is in theaters in 2009. Randy is originally from the Chicago area, has a degree in broadcast journalism from the University of Miami of Florida. Please welcome Randy Wayhofer.
Thank you for inviting the Cubs to be here today to share with your group, and me in particular, to talk with all of you. As you've heard, I've had a lot of practice talking in my life, so whatever you need me to be done, just let me know, and we'll certainly do that. My path to becoming the general manager of the Iowa Cubs is unusual. There aren't a lot of former Midwest League broadcasters who are currently running AAA baseball teams. But I've had a very unique opportunity in my career. It's a gentleman named Dave Walker in Burlington, who is the president of the board of directors that ran that team, who represented the Midwest League on the board of trustees for minor league baseball. There was one representative from every league. And then Sam Burnaby represented the Pacific Coast League on that board of trustees at that same time. Sam became the chairman of that board immediately following Dave's tenure for 2 years. And Sam's so good, they threw out term limits when he took over. And he served as the chairman of that board until Major League Baseball dissolved minor league baseball a few years later. So I'm the only person that has had the honor to work for the chairman of the board of trustees of minor league baseball for 14 years and not 12, like the rest of my fellow employees there. So I had the opportunity to learn not only what was happening locally with our team, but understand the industry. And then as a broadcaster traveling with the team, I got to be a secret shopper in everybody else's ballpark to see what they were doing, how people were reacting. And there's no original ideas in minor league baseball. We borrow things from each other all the time. And that has put me in a unique position to be trusted with the opportunity to run the Iowa Cubs as the general manager, and I look forward to that opportunity. I didn't prepare slides or things today. I do a lot of these from throughout the season and the off season, and I find that most of you aren't interested in a lecture. So a lot of you have questions or stories or memories of the ballpark that turns into a good conversation. So I'll share a few things about where we are as an organization and the things that we're working on, but I do very much want to hear from all of you and make this more of a conversation. And I never know what good story to tell until you prompt me with a thing that makes me remember that good story that I have to share about all of those things. So just some background. Professional baseball dates back to 1887 in Des Moines, Iowa. It was the first year that there was a team. It was the Des Moines Hawkeyes at that time. And there was a few gaps around the world wars, but minor league baseball existed in some shape or form from that time up through the 50s, in the early 50s, and that's when we had fun names like the Des Moines Underwriters and the Prohibitionists and the Undertakers, the Bruins and the Demons came along. But AAA baseball came to Des Moines in 1969, and Sec Taylor, who was the publisher of the Des Moines Register Sports section, was pretty well-known national baseball writer and covered the World Series, and he was really instrumental in helping to bring a AAA team to Des Moines. And Des Moines still remains the smallest AAA market in the country. Reno, Nevada likes to arm wrestle with us every once in a while over claiming that title, but if you count all the lights on the casinos, we're very much the smallest market in AAA baseball. We were the Iowa Oaks and an affiliate with the Chicago White Sox and Oakland A's during that time. And we became the Chicago Cubs affiliate in 1981, taking over the Cubs name in 1982, and that has remained. And we are one of the very few affiliates in minor league baseball that can claim a 50-plus year history with their major league affiliate, especially for those who aren't owned by the major league affiliate, who have no choice but to remain in the market where they've purchased the team. And we like to think that that hasn't happened by accident. Through Sam's leadership and mine, we share a common bond that while we are not directly responsible for the baseball operation, certainly we are a baseball team first and foremost. There's no one shooting hot dogs and t-shirts and fireworks without baseball games and making any money anywhere in the country. That baseball game, whether you care about the final score or not, is core to the experience that you have when you come to the ballpark at Principal Park or anywhere else around the community. And a lot has changed in our industry in a pretty short time. For as long and established as minor league baseball has been, during the 2020 season, which was canceled for us because of the pandemic and done in a limited way at Major League Baseball, was also the end of the professional baseball agreement that governed how minor league baseball and Major League Baseball coexisted. There was rules about how your affiliate relationship worked, who paid for what, and all of those kinds of things. And during the pandemic, that contract was due to expire and needed to be renegotiated, and it wasn't. Rob Manfred, the commissioner of baseball, decided that we should have one baseball, and that the commissioner's office would run from Little League to the World Series and everything in between to try to grow the game and create some synergies. And so minor league baseball is now part of the Major League Baseball umbrella. And that's why Sam's no longer on the board of trustees, because there isn't one. Minor league baseball used to have its own office in Tampa, Florida, St. Petersburg technically, and they had a president and league presidents, and all that structure has changed. And our leaders now on the Major League Baseball side have taken over those sorts of things. Then locally, we had pretty big changes with Michael Gartner. Doc Dorner here was part of the group, and Sam and Mike Judas says he sold the team to Diamond Baseball Holdings. We were one of the first 12 teams that Diamond Baseball Holdings acquired in minor league baseball. Our group is now up to 49 teams across the country. Major League Baseball has capped what one ownership group can own at 50, so we are right at that, and there are certain limits to how many that can be owned at every level, because there are some voting rights and things that happen that could impact the rest of the teams in some sort of way. And so that's a big change, to go from a local community owner who officed right next to me, who on a day like today, if we had a home game, would say, really stinks that it rained all day today, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Try again tomorrow. As opposed to an out-of-town absentee owner who sends me an email saying, what happened last night? Why didn't we sell any tickets? Because they weren't watching the radar. But there are great resources to be part of a group of 49 teams that can leverage sponsorship opportunities and buying power and things that the group is looking to accomplish. So there are certainly things that we are benefiting from being part of a larger group that independent ownership couldn't accomplish. So like all change, there's some good and some change that feels a little more abrupt, but you just kind of have to learn some new ways. And then certainly me following Sam in October and taking over as the general manager. Sam is still the president of the team. He's still very much present when he's in town, but he has taken the liberty. He's got a grandson who's celebrating a birthday this week, so he's in Atlanta there and has done some traveling, so he's not necessarily there every day, but he is certainly a resource and still an important part of our organization. One of the things that Major League Baseball has impacted most is our facility standards. And there were facility standards under minor league baseball, but they weren't necessarily enforced to the letter of the law. If you were 90% good on the things that you did and the 10% wasn't getting anybody hurt, we could look the other way on 10%. That's why we had a non-compliant batter's eye, or no batter's eye, which is that dark wall behind the center field fence, because we did everything else really good, so they didn't force us to block the view of the Capitol from the seats behind home plate. It's no longer 90% is an A- compliant. You're either compliant or you are not compliant. It is a binary decision, and so we had to invest over the last few years a lot of money to improve. We've redone the playing surface. We have updated the locker rooms. We have put in the batter's eye. We have put the bullpens into the stands. Sam from ball team was part of that project in the off season, and so those major league rules are things that we have to take advantage of and make sure that we take care of for that. And so now moving forward, we have taken care of all of that. We are fully compliant with Major League Baseball. Through partnership with the city of Des Moines and our local partners, we're really proud of where the facility is at. But in the meantime, we've had a gap in some fan-facing things. And so that's my opportunity moving forward and thinking about the next 10 years of Iowa Cubs baseball is how do we modernize our operation and Principal Park to meet the growing needs of the next generation of baseball fan, and to not let the oldest stadium in AAA and the smallest market in AAA slip below the high standard that the Iowa Cubs have held in our industry for a long time. Minor league baseball is a unique business because I don't control the team. While we are affiliated with the Chicago Cubs, when Dan was the general manager of the Dodgers, he didn't call the AAA general manager to say, who should I call up to be in the bullpen today? In fact, it's good for my job security that they don't, for as fickle as that existence is. The general manager at the AAA level is in charge of running the business that surrounds the baseball operation. The Chicago Cubs are in charge of our coaches and our players, and they move them at their discretion. So when a player is playing well, I can't prevent them from calling them up to Chicago. When a player is playing poorly, I can't sit them on the bench. If we're losing, I can't make a trade. None of that is within my purview. So I don't control the team. That's all the Major League affiliate. I don't control the schedule. Major League Baseball makes the schedule. I can't say I want to be out of town the last week of July so I can host the high school state baseball tournament the way we did with the Pacific Coast League. And that's the reason we don't host that event anymore, because we can't make the commitment that we'll be out that week in order to host that event. I can't say the weather really stinks in Des Moines in April, don't schedule me for very many home games in April. I get what I get, and sometimes I throw a fit when it comes out poorly, but I have no control of the schedule. And of course, I have no control over the weather. So 3 of the top components that you would choose as your reasons why you should or shouldn't come to an Iowa Cubs baseball team, I'm already down 2 strikes and have fouled off a nasty slider before I've even gotten started with a chance to try to get a hit. And it's unusual to be in an industry where such key components of what you're selling aren't up to you. And so that is a unique part of our business. But it is our job to surround the game with all the other elements so that when any of those things aren't going perfectly, we have the opportunity to provide a good experience and make memories for people and how that's done. And then when the weather's good and we get a Friday night in June and the team wins and all the other things that we do, now we've got something really spectacular. So how do we do that? And our staff, and what are the things that I'm talking with people about? Sam talked about our mission statement as being safe, clean, and fun. And it was pretty simple and easy to remember. And we're spot on. If the ballpark isn't safe and isn't clean, it won't be fun because there's nobody there. But in listening to our new bosses from Major League Baseball and from Diamond Baseball Holdings, we probably need to go a little bit deeper into that. And I've worked with the senior staff to craft an updated mission statement that I think captures what we're trying to do every day. That is connecting professional baseball with other passions across our community to make our ballpark a place that creates a welcoming environment, lasting memories, and traditions for all generations. Safe, clean, and fun are still baked into all of that, but it's a little bit more specific. We want people to feel something when they come to the ballpark, whether it's nostalgia or community pride or aspiration from a young fan who wants to be a professional baseball player, to combining the baseball game with the thing that you love most. Sometimes it's Star Wars night, sometimes it's the promotion that we'll do with the Iowa Baseball Camp for the Deaf and wear jerseys that have Iowa and American Sign Language spelled out across the chest. Sometimes it's our COPA initiative through that minor league baseball began to celebrate local Latin culture and the Demonios moniker that we've done. The unveiling of our new capital city uniforms last Saturday. For the first time, we're wearing a uniform on Saturdays that say Des Moines and not Iowa, that take a page from the Major League Playbook in the City Connect uniforms, and doing that at the minor league level to create those connections. Catching a t-shirt, catching a foul ball, letting kids run the bases after the game on Sunday, letting people play catch in the outfield before the game on Saturday. All those things that we do are to try to create that emotional attachment. Field of Dreams has stood the test of time as a baseball movie, not because it's about baseball, but it brings out the humanity of baseball, of the father-son relationship, the Burt Lancaster character who wanted to be a baseball player but realized his impact on the world was far greater as a doctor, and validating all of us that failed at our dream to be baseball players, but realizing that we're playing important roles in society nonetheless. All of those things are really important. So everything that we do is to try to create that feeling. We were at a marketing meeting last December with some of the other DBH teams, and we were asked the question, if your brand walked into a bar, what would its personality be? Like Barbara Walters kind of stuff there. And we hadn't really thought about it in that sort of concept, but as we did, without trying to get sued for any IP infringement, I think we're Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And we use this neighborhood concept, and we're leaning into that. Drake uses the hometown team moniker, but the ballpark is its own neighborhood. Every section is its own neighborhood for the season ticket holders that have been there for a long time and made friends. Mr. Rogers' neighborhood is a place that you're welcome, you're valued, you're seen, and then you jump on the trolley and you go to the land of make-believe and you have a lot of fun and you make up crazy stuff, right? And that's what we do with the ballpark. I want you to walk in and feel welcome. I want you to walk in and feel seen. I want you to walk in and feel valued. And then I want to get on the trolley and do drone shows and fireworks and all the other silly things that we do, just in case we lose 10-1 and it's cloudy that day. So that's a really important part of what we're doing. And then part of that modernization plan is making some updates of things, and there's a lot of new things at the ballpark. I typed it out for the staff at the beginning of the season. We filled 2 sides of the paper of things that are different this year. We talked about the bullpens. We took out 734 seats from each side, but in a stadium that holds 11,000 people, if I miss those 734 seats, I'm going to get a gold star for this year. We replaced the sound system, which was overdue, and it's not 100% done yet. It's finally 100% installed, and now we've got some fine tuning to do. So if you've been there and it's been a little loud in places, it'll get better. Bear with me a little bit. But the music and the sound is how you make people feel something, the connectivity for the music that it's playing, to be able to understand the PA announcer, to be in the concourse and hear the broadcast and not Charlie Brown's teacher over muffled 40-year-old speakers. The right field video board looks the same, but is actually brand new. There was a power surge downtown last fall, and it fried the board. We turned it on and it looked like the board had measles, and the only way to fix it was to rebuild it. Fortunately, insurance helped us cover the cost of that because it was not our fault, and so it's now 12-year better technology within that same framework, so the graphics are better and easier to read and sharper and more distinguishable. We've built a sensory-friendly room in the concourse. We've changed some things down below where the bottom of the 5th bar no longer exists because we have the neighborhood bar, not a coincidence on the name, where people gather in the concourse behind home plate. So we took that bottom of the 5th space and created a mother's room, a sensory-friendly room, and some extra storage for our team store. We were doing some things with a group called Culture City, where we had sensory-friendly bags and trying to make the ballpark as accessible for everyone in the community to enjoy a game as possible. But the quiet space that we had was just our conference room that had blinds and a door. We needed to do better, and we did, and this gave us an opportunity, and our friends at ChildServe has been part of that. It's adjacent to first aid, so it can stay locked and you can check in and use that space so it doesn't get disturbed and abused over the course of the season. We've updated our concession offerings behind home plate, so there's now a hot dog and a pizza slice at the homestand. So if you come regularly, there's options. And it's themed after the team that's coming in. We've done Buffalo's coming in soon, and so we'll have a buffalo chicken hot dog and pizza slice, and we've done a Reuben dog when Columbus was here, and different things, and that's been really well received to have different variety. Sometimes it's easy to be too practical. You know, most people get a hot dog when they come to the baseball game, but people feel better about their hot dog when they had 6 other things to choose from that were more creative, even though they went back and had the same old hot dog that they had before. We took the trophy cases from the bottom of the 5th and we moved them up to the suite level in the lobby. And if you don't have a suite ticket, you can still take the elevator up and see all those things. We started with kind of the legacy and the history of the organization, and that's a huge part of what we are. We can't ignore all of those things as we try to get better. How do you celebrate the story that got you here while you write the new chapters? And we just try to update some painting and graphics and present the curb appeal of that ballpark. And those are just kind of the physical changes. We've changed some things around within the offices too, and restructured because we've added some more staff to try to respond to the needs of everything that we did. But from a fan engagement standpoint, we've added an FM signal to our game broadcast. So we're now on AM 940 and FM 93.7 to improve coverage. I've got 2 daughters in college, one just graduated. I don't think they know how to find AM radio. So if we're going to adapt to continuing to grow that audience somewhere, we had to find a way to put that in addition to all of the things that we do online in a way that you might run into that in your car. The Chicago Cubs Marquee Sports Network has been a good partner of ours, and for the last few years since they've launched that network, they've carried about 15 of our games. This year they're carrying 28, And so the opportunity to be connected, even when people are not in the ballpark, is really impactful, certainly for the following that the Chicago Cubs have. We've added a new email and SMS marketing system that allows for better fan journeys to abide by privacy policies and all the things that are out in the world that also allow us to be more communicative with fans. We have a new point of sale in the store that interacts with our online store, which it seems like a pretty straightforward thing, but there was a chance that if I sold out in the store, it was still available online, and then we had to tell people what you bought wasn't available. Like, we can talk to each other with systems, and so we finally found ways to do that. We have found a mass distribution tool for group tickets through a partner that allows a group to distribute their tickets electronically without a fee being charged for the people that are receiving them, which was holding us back before. Unity Point is doing their big employee night, and they're distributing all of their tickets digitally for the first time this year, including loaded value, which is another new option. The concessions company really loved the fact that they don't have to count all the coupons that we had to give people for all the special offers that we needed to do. We now can load the barcode of your ticket with either specific items or value at the concession stand or at the store, so you can scan that and have that available to you without having to keep track of 6 different pieces of paper when you come to the ballpark. So all of these things are really important, and then the non-baseball games that we do. We just hosted the Iowa series against Purdue in May, and that's become a great tradition for us. We're bringing Cosmic Baseball to Des Moines in July, which is kind of like the Savannah Bananas, except they add a glow-in-the-dark component. So they play 3 innings of normal baseball, then they take a break, we turn the lights off, they bring black lights in, and we play 3 innings of like cosmic bowling of baseball, hence the name. And then we're really excited to be the first AAA team to be the host team in the minor league game at the Field of Dreams coming up in August, and that game will be available on Netflix. And will be a great showcase for our team and our community and our organization. So, that's a lot to just do in one off season. We have a lot of big plans for how we can continue to do that. The thing that has me most excited, 2 things. When Sam announced that he was semi-retiring and I was being named the general manager, no one quit. So it's really exciting to have a stable, talented staff that we have worked with for a very long time. We have a great group at the ballpark that are able to do a lot of things and are really smart and really talented and really nice people. And so I'm excited about having those people to work with. But the other thing just boils down to this community. There aren't a lot of places that can have all of the history and the tradition that we do and be in an area where the population is growing and people are active and engaged and doing all the things that's happening around Central Iowa. That's a testament to the things that you all do in your jobs, by being part of this group, the way you reach out into the community and people help each other. I grew up in suburban Chicago. I went to college at Miami and 2 big city experiences. People are no people are more miserable than people that live in big cities. You come to Des Moines and people look at you in the eye and say hello. Some will tell you their life story, but not everybody does. There's this concept that we can help each other, that what I have, I'm happy with, and I can help you get what you need to be successful and to be happy, and that's a really exciting environment to be in. And so as we think about the changes that we want to make as an organization to grow, because the community is growing, these are all opportunities, not problems. And I'm really excited to be trusted with the chance to help steward some of that, certainly with the cooperation of all the stakeholders that are involved, from our ownership to the city of Des Moines to leaders around the region at large. We'll be doing a lot of those things. It's easy to take for granted when you've been around for a long time that everybody knows everything about what's going on at the ballpark. And I think there are more people living in Central Iowa that know less about the Iowa Cubs than ever before. And so it's my opportunity in groups like this and everywhere else to go out and tell that story as to why we're excited about what we have to offer, why it's more than baseball, but baseball will always be at the heart of what we're doing. And for me, baseball is still the greatest game because it's the most relatable. To have been in the NFL or the NBA, you had to have won the genetic lottery. If you stand outside the clubhouse entrance and watch our players come and go, there is a reason as a kid that you might aspire to be a professional baseball player. It still takes great skill and great mental skill and physical skill and determination and hard work and all sorts of things. But if you weren't born at 6'6" and 240 pounds, you have a chance to be really successful. And baseball is the most relatable game. I learned all of my life lessons through the prism of things that happen. You can execute perfectly and get a bad outcome in baseball just like you can in life. If you're bigger, stronger, and faster than the person across from you in those other sports, you'll always win. And that's not the way we happen on a day-by-day basis. Baseball is about day games after night games and double headers after rainouts and adapting and persevering, not practicing all week, staying in a hotel Saturday night and being really good for 3 hours on Sunday afternoon. It's kind of cheating. Those are my feelings about why the game of baseball, while sometimes getting a bad rap because it's not the NFL, and the NFL has bought their way into a lot of things. There's still baseball's greatness. It's in its points of difference, and it's okay to be different. Things that are different can both be excellent. I like watching football too, but baseball has a special place in our society, a special place in this community in particular, and I'm really proud to be a part of that. So with that, I'd be happy to entertain some questions and things. I knew we'd have, I saw you first.
Yeah, I remember when I was younger, the Chicago Cubs would come into town and do like an exhibition game. You know, I don't know if it was yearly or I just remember going, but when was the last time you guys had that happen?
I read the instructions, so I'm going to repeat the question. Question was, no, I can't teach an old dog a couple of new tricks once in a while. The question was about exhibition games against the Major League affiliate that used to happen pretty regularly. Those haven't happened in probably 25 years. And the reason that they're not possible is the new rules within the CBA for the Players Union requires those to happen preseason. They can't, it used to be if the Cubs had an off day coming back from San Francisco on the way to Wrigley, they'd stop in Des Moines and play a game. They've changed that rule now, that it has to happen preseason in order for it to happen. And there's no way the Chicago Cubs are coming March 15th to play a game in Principal Park. And for us, it's already hard enough when opening day was March 27th to even have the water turned on, to have the place clean and ready to go for the season. And that just prevents us from being able to do that. And so it's a lost opportunity. But that's where the Major League rehab assignments that we get a lot of, Matthew Boyd just pitched the first game of the doubleheader last Saturday. We had Justin Verlander in with Toledo. When Kerry Wood and Mark Pryor came every other week because they were hurt, those were always big events, kinds of things. So, that's the root of it and why we can't do those anymore.
I live across the street from the stadium, and I would just like to commend you for being a great neighbor. My little nonprofit has had walking classes there. You're allowing us next week when our parking lot is being resurfaced to park there. So you are a great neighbor. But I also had a question. I've seen the expansion of these entertainment teams, or whatever they're called, Savannah Bananas and things. How is that impacting the regular professional baseball? Do you think it's good, bad, indifferent?
So first comment was thanking us for being a good neighbor for someone who lives near the stadium, and I appreciate that. When you started with I live across the street, I braced myself for those fireworks are awfully loud, and my dog doesn't sleep very well. That's normally the email I get on Saturday, but I appreciate that. And this is right about building bridges and community partnership and being part of the neighborhood, and there's more people living downtown than ever before, and that's a great thing for us. So thank you for calling that out, and we're not perfect, but we try to make that a top priority. The second question was about the Savannah Bananas and the cosmic baseball and these other things and how that impacts us, good, bad, or otherwise. Having hosted the Bananas, it's a much different demographic. It's a lot more like a Taylor Swift concert than it is a minor league baseball game for the folks that show up to that. And I think that they have forced us in a good way to be more creative in the things that we're doing and trying to entertain around the baseball. The Savannah Bananas are a unique case study. We were just talking, my daughter just graduated from the Savannah College of Art and Design. And when we were moving her in for freshman orientation in Savannah, we were in our initial discussions to host the Bananas 4 years ago. And so I told my wife and daughters, I should probably at least drive past the stadium and see what this place looks like as long as we're here. And when we did, there was some activity going on out there. I wasn't aware of the schedule. And since I saw people, I said, you know, I can probably get us a tour of the stadium. Would you guys be interested in seeing it? And I figured they would say no, and they said, oh yeah. And so we walked up, and I introduced myself, and I asked for the person that we had been talking to, and that person wasn't there, but they were setting up because they had a playoff game. This was their last year when they were a college woodbat league team, and they were in a competitive league. They had a playoff game against the Macon Bacon that night. And the person I was talking to said, would you guys like to come to the game tonight? We can give you tickets. I've been doing this for 25 years. It's the first time my daughters thought it was cool. That I walked up and said, I'm Randy with the Iowa Cubs, and they said, would you like to come to the game for free tonight? And we did, and I admit, it was really hard for me to watch them in what was supposed to be a competitive playoff game doing their show, and they were really sloppy operationally because their social media people, who are really good in the heart of why they're so successful, were on the field getting crowd reactions with their backs to live action, and I was the only one not having a good time. But when they came to Des Moines and they created the show, it was a lot more fun because now I don't have to try to marry the idea that these two teams are competing. They are playing to set up the moments that create atmosphere. And to the Bananas' credit, they have recognized that you can't do that in the same city for 50 games. It's the circus, and the circus has to travel. And I respect the Bananas. I have things to learn from the Bananas. But I also point out that the Bananas do what they do because they failed at what we do. They couldn't sell season tickets, they couldn't sell sponsorships, they couldn't maintain a stadium, and they couldn't do it for a longevity and be engaging with their community the same way that we have done for all of that history that we've had. And I'm really proud to be part of this. This fits my sensibility. And for those that have more fun doing the other, more power to you. There's more than one way to enjoy a baseball game. So I appreciate the way they've pushed the entertainment value, but it is a show, and it's a good show and a fun show, but don't try to tell me that it's the World Series when it's not. And so they're different. And because it's baseball adjacent, there are those that we get, well, when's the pitcher going to take his shirt off and dance? Well, we're not going to do that. But there are small elements, particularly pregame and postgame, the way they engage the crowd, that are really effective.
Take one more question, Randy.
Sure. Yeah,
Quick question, for those of you around here that know me, I've been a huge baseball fan all my life, so I don't believe I'm gonna ask this question, but I am. You know, Major League Baseball, minor league baseball, you play so many games. Has there been any conversation at all about shortening the game to 7 innings versus 9 because of the marathon, and because, frankly, at times it does get a little boring?
So the question was, is there any talk about shortening games, and how do we adapt with the microwave society of attention spans?
That's exactly what I said.
Paraphrasing a little bit for there. Quickly, I would say I haven't heard those discussions. I think the game goes in cycles, and every new generation of leadership, there's some young, exuberant idea that says, I can reinvent this thing that's been around forever. And we're in a mode right now where the leaders of Major League Baseball think the key to success is through analytics and teaching techniques as opposed to competition. And everybody's trying to do it the same way, and only one team wins the World Series. And there will be an owner that says, everybody else is doing it this way, why don't we do it another way? And someone will have the novel idea that we should let the guys who get the most outs get promoted to pitch in the big leagues, not the guy who throws the hardest. And the game will get better again, and it will go in a cycle. And we're in a weird cycle, particularly if you're old enough to have a memory of what you were taught or what you were done before. I equate it to, my mom was a information operator for the phone company. Talk about outdated jobs. And they had a lot of turnover in management. And every time a new manager came in, they'd look at the workspace and say, we need cubicles. There's people can't concentrate. They don't have a workspace. And the operations people would come and build cubicles. And then that manager would get promoted or fired 6 months later. And the new person would come in and say, nobody talks to each other around here. We got to get rid of all these cubicles. And the same ops people would come take down the partitions around the same operators. And this would happen over and over and over. This happens everywhere in the world, including baseball. We're just in one of those cycles right now, I think. I think the game will correct itself, and that's why it's lasted as long as it has, even though people have tried to ruin it before. Thank you very much. There are schedules and pens on the table. Please feel free to help yourself.
Randy, thanks for joining us today and sharing your time with the Rotary Club of Des Moines. Truly appreciated hearing about all that's going on at the Iowa Cubs and everything that goes into both the season, both on and off the field. And great presentation, great reminder of the impact you guys have in the community, like ours here in Des Moines. So welcome back anytime. That was great. Okay, just briefly, a couple of announcements about upcoming meetings. Next, and remember, you and a guest need to RSVP by Wednesday at 9 a.m. You can do it through the Friday email or Tuesday newsletter to Kitty. June 18th, Amy Jennings, the Executive Director of Lead DSM, will be here. June 25th, the passing of the gavel, and Mr. President-elect Josh Brady will be up here with me. And then Michael Eagle, the Artistic Director of the Des Moines Metro Opera, will also be here. And then the week of July 4th, July 2nd, we will not have a meeting, so don't come to the Embassy Club on July 2nd. We won't be here, but enjoy your 4th of July holiday, and then Josh will pick up after that. So, upcoming fellowships, there's a couple of quick reminders. Pickleballs tonight from 4 to 6. Thanks to Sam Sodders for organizing this at Valley View Park. And Sam sent me an email and said, since we're watching the weather, he did start an email chain for those who have signed up, so watch your email for any updates on the weather. June 25th, the Bourbon Club Walk of Iowa, organized by Christy Edwards. I know she's emailed out the group with information on that, so look for that in your emails. And if you want to know more, reach out to Christy or to Kitty. And then real quickly before we leave, is Elena from the Embassy Club here? Elena, this is her last day serving us with the Embassy Club, so we appreciate everything you've done over the years for us, making us feel so welcome. Thank you. Round of applause for Elena. Thanks for all of our members for being a vital part of our club. Thank you to all our visitors and guests. You're welcome back anytime. Maria, keep up the good work. And as I say every week, stay true to the good. We are adjourned.